Was the mystery at Blind Frog Ranch all hoaxed? This is really an interesting idea that someone put forward to me in a comment on my recent video about Blind Frog Ranch. And he did not provide any links to where he had acquired information that it was all a hoax. But he did provide some search terms. So I searched it, and sure enough, I did find some fairly damning videos proving that that Blind Frog Ranch was all a hoax. But not so fast. I've got some thoughts on that. I think that there are, well, let's get into it. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like, please subscribe, share on social media, and please comment below to let me know what you think. Oh, and please forgive my nasally voice. I'm still shaking off the threads of COVID that I got. I had a bout of that over the weekend. And yeah, I'm fine, but yeah, nasally voice. So I, as I've talked about before, because I did have COVID, I had nothing better to watch, so I put on Blind Frog Ranch, binged the whole series, 2 seasons, over the weekend. Really enjoyed it. I was a little bit annoyed at some parts of it because I felt like the producers and the editors were a little too slick, and it just felt fiction. It felt fictionalized in some ways. It felt like storytelling. There were a lot of storytelling devices at play in that show. And I think that, as I said in the previous video, that works to its detriment. And that doesn't mean that it's false at all, but it does, I think, hinder some viewers. And it gets some viewers to think that it must all be a hoax. And it invites others to actually search for proof that it is a hoax. And sure enough, people found stuff. And but does this actually mean what they say it means? That's for you to judge, but I've got some thoughts on that. But first, let me show you what these, these hoax proofs claim. So here's one video. Because it has sound playing throughout the video, I will mute the sound so as not to incur YouTube's wrath. Here goes. All right, and here is the other one. Again, I'm muting the sound. There's the log. Watch that again. So yeah, so that doesn't look great, right? There's a stock footage, and he does provide links to where that stock footage came from when they're in the cave. And I will provide links to both of those source videos, the debunking videos below. But does that actually mean the whole thing was a hoax? No, I don't think so. Just because they used some stock footage does not mean the whole thing was a hoax. Not at all. It means some overzealous editors and producers may have inserted some stock footage in there for coverage. Coverage, if you don't know what that is, it's a term that I learned in film school. Yeah, I went to film school. That's why I became a novelist. If you have a film degree from Texas, it's less likely to land you a career in film than if you got a film career from New York or LA, but film degree. So at any rate, I did learn the word coverage, so it all paid off. Coverage is, if you're making a movie, you need coverage of the scene from all parts of that scene. And if you're missing something, you may have to go back and reshoot it. So that may be what happened here, but instead of going back 100 feet into the cave, they simply inserted some stock footage. Now, that's just my explanation for it until the producers actually come out and address that specific claim and that specific incident. We don't really know for sure. But this debunking video that I have shared, the first one, doesn't really, it doesn't prove anything, except that they did use some stock footage, and that's not good. They shouldn't have used stock footage. I'm not going to make excuses for that. As I've said, there are overzealous producers and editors on this that have edited this thing to within an inch of its life, and they should not have done that. So, no excuse for that. That just invites criticism like this, and probably will make it more difficult for the series to get continued. Hopefully it will. I hope there is a season 3. But let's move on to the second piece of evidence that I shared, and that is the log. So the video clearly shows that there is a log in the water, the log, before they actually drag it out. At least that is the sequence of events that are depicted in those shots. However, those shots were likely filmed out of order. They probably did not have the coverage of that vehicle backing up, so they filmed that vehicle backing up, not realizing that the log was in the shot because that event had already occurred. But they needed coverage for that vehicle backing up. So they shot that scene after the events had already transpired, and they had this is when they were attempting to drag the box out of the cave, the box filled with Aztec treasure, potentially. It turned out to be weird. If indeed that is legit. So that's my take on that, is that they were trying to get coverage for these incidents. Again, I put this down to overzealous producers and directors, and maybe they can get some better editors going forward. Or their producers can stop these sorts of shenanigans, because it's not helping the show, if indeed that's what's going on. Chris Bartell, if you're watching, I would love to get your thoughts on this. But this is the problem that we get with reality shows, is that they are edited and produced in such a way as to make it entertaining and comprehensible. And comprehensible means they need coverage of all these things. And sometimes they have to reshoot stuff. Even Travis Taylor has said they have done that on The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch. If he says something that leads to some action that the series covers, and they don't have the camera on him when he says that, they may ask him to repeat that line. So, in Skinwalker Ranch is fairly rigorous about only showing real stuff. So, if even Skinwalker Ranch, is forced to do that, then I think that, and I say forced, but it's a choice the editors and producers make to make the show understandable. If you have a gap in your storytelling, there's going to be a gap there, and you're going to have to explain what happened in that gap. It's going to be kind of awkward. It'd be much more seamless to get somebody to simply repeat what he said originally. That doesn't necessarily make it less authentic. Well, it does, but it is what actually happened. They just have to repeat it. I typically don't watch reality shows. In fact, I basically never watch reality shows. That's just not my thing. But an investigation into the real life Twilight Zone, which is Skinwalker Ranch, is always going to get my attention. I just love that. In Mystery at Blind Frog Ranch, which is right down the road, apparently, is right up there as far as weirdness goes. I wish it was a little bit more rigorous in depicting, let's just say, enough with the stock footage, guys. That's not helping. Enough with reshooting stuff where there's, logs in the scene that you have already shown. You need to get better at your reshoots and your coverage, if indeed that is what is going on. So it's a mixture of overzealous editing and producing, and also sloppy editing and producing. But I don't think that means anything is actually hoaxed. But that's just my take on it, guys. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. If you have more evidence you would like to present, please share it. I'm open-minded to, whatever is really going on. But I do think that the Mystery Blind Frog Ranch series is depicting something that actually happened. But let me know what you think. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. Please smash the subscribe button and hit the bell so you don't miss a single video. Please join me on social media. There's Facebook and Twitter links below. And please, if you enjoy these videos, please consider supporting the channel by becoming a channel member. See the first line in the description below, and there's 2 tiers of membership to receive exclusive access in videos. Until next time, this is Jack with Cosmic Road.